So in this video, and really all of the videos, one of the things we're focusing on is that you don't make a game all at once. You kind of pick a piece of it and build on from there. And in programming, that's called modularity, where we take something and then we build on it. We don't ever try to make the whole thing at once. So you'll see I don't even have the whole Hangman game here. I have the title, I have the 5 spots for the letters, I have the guessing, and then the enter letter, but I don't have any pictures or letters or counting how many I have right or wrong yet. Because right now, my first focus is going to be just getting a word and then having the letters work. So when I guess a letter, it goes to the right spot. So what we're going to do first is we're going to create a list called words 5 letters. And we will be populating this list with a lot more words, but for now, I am just going to put in 3 possible words to choose from. And I am going to also have a variable called word choice, which is going to be whatever word is chosen from these 3. It's going to be chosen randomly. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function called choose word. And you'll see I am typing this. I think it's, as you're watching, it's good to kind of get used to typing it, even if you've been using the blocks more. So the first thing I need to do to choose a word, just like anytime we're trying to choose something random from a list, is I'm going to store a random variable. And I'm going to pick that from the indexes of the things in the list. So I have a random number. I want to pick it between 0, which is the index of the word 7, and 2, which is the index of the word table. So this is a short list. I'm just going to type in those numbers versus using the list length. Now from here, whatever index is chosen, I want to take this word choice and set it equal to words 5 letters at the random index. So I need brackets. So whatever number was chosen here, I'm going to pick that number, pick that word from these 3 words. So I'm going to call this function. Notice I haven't really done anything with this app. I'm just making sure the function runs. And then I'm going to console log word choice. Now, this is a really big point. Sometimes you guys are coding apps and you're like 20 steps in and step 2 is broken. And you can really save yourself a lot of fixing things if you just piece by piece console log, okay, I know that piece is working. Then you don't have to search everything. You just search the most recent thing you've done. So let's run this. Okay, so I got the word 7, table, 7, table, great. And I can see as I click this that it looks like I'm getting random words. Now, the next thing we want to do, I'm going to set up an event handler. When the person types a letter, so let's say it's Y, and they press the enter letter, we want to take this letter and store it, and then we want to put it in the right place if it's in one of the words. So I'm going to pull out this event handler first. This element is called letter button. And I'm going to create a variable. I'm kind of avoiding return or worrying about local and global variables too much. So I'm going to define this variable guess up here. And then down here, I'm going to say guess equals get text from the letter input. And just to make sure that's working, I am going to console log it. So let's just make sure we're getting the guess when I enter it. So I'm going to try B this time, and we can see that, yes, it is storing. Okay, it's not doing anything. It's stored as guess. I haven't done anything with guess yet. Now, the next part is a little complex where we have to check and see the letters in the word and where it goes. So I'm going to create another function for that, and I'm going to call it check letter. So from here, what I need to do, let's say 7 is my word, and I pick the letter N, which does happen to be in it. I need to think of the word 7 as a list of 5 letters. So we need to check, is the first thing an N, is the second thing an N, is the third thing an N, is the fourth or the fifth thing an N. So that's a for loop, right? So I'm actually going to type it up. I know we haven't done that a lot. A for loop is actually 3 statements in one. So you set a variable, usually I, to 0. We're going to say I is less than word choice dot length. Okay, so the word choice length here is 5, and it's always going to be 5 because all of my words have 5 letters. So this is going to be I is less than 5, which is what we want to iterate through the items in the string. And then we say I plus plus, and that continues our for loop through the values of I. Now we need an if statement. So if word choice I, so the current letter I'm on in word choice, equals the letter that was guessed, so that's the variable from down here, then I'm going to set the text, and if we look here, these I named letter 0, 1 through 4, so they match up with the indexes of the words. So if we're on, for example, N has the 4th index, so we're on I equals 4. So once we find that the word choice, the N, equals the guess, which was N, we're going to set the text of letter 4. So the way we would write that is letter plus I to the guess. So it's going to take that value and set it here. Down here, I'm going to get rid of this console log guess. You can leave them, you can take them out, whatever you think is best. And I'm going to call my function. So I have our function check letter, and we will see how that works. So I have table. I'm going to guess something in table. I'll guess the B. And it says we can't figure out what letter is. So I am going to go back here, and that's on line 14. And I made the mistake of putting the I in quotes and not the word letter. So I is a variable, letter is not, so that's what we need. So let's see if this works now. Now I have the word 7, I'm gonna guess the V, and we do see that the V shows up. I'll guess, this is a good one to check because we have double E's and we wanna make sure it works for both of them. We also wanna make sure, well, if I enter something random that's not in the word, that it doesn't show up. Try another random thing, okay, and then I'll complete the word. Now, not for the video, but I would probably check a few more times for a couple different words just to make sure it's working, but it looks like it is working. So now we're going to clean it up, and we're also going to add some parameters to our function, and we'll talk about a couple of reasons why we want to. Now, beneath check letter, if you notice when I enter a letter, it stays. So after I enter it, I want to, and press the enter button, I want to clear this text. So we're going to set the text of letter input to an empty string after we click the letter button. Okay. That really, we can try it once. Just pick a random letter. Okay, so it looks like it's clearing and we can see our placeholder, the guess here. I'm going to go up to my 2 functions now, and I'm going to change them so they have parameters. So right now my function choose word specifically works for my words 5 letter list, which has to have 3 items because I have a 2 here. So it's just going to go the indexes 0, 1, 2. I actually want to change this function to choose item so that it's going to work for any possible list. Okay, so I'm going to use a parameter list. Now, when I use list, I need to change this to any list. Okay, not just words 5 letters. So if I had a bigger Hangman game and I had a list of words that have 6 letters or things like that, I could call this function for those different values. Now we also, in the next video, are going to make this have way more words in it. So we can't say it's always 2. We're going to do list.length. Now this list length is 3, but I use the number 2 because the last index is 2. So I need a list length minus 1 here. So here is my function. I did change the name of it. So down here, I'm going to change it to item. And because I set up a parameter, I need to have an argument when I call my function. The list I'm working with right now is the words 5 letters. So we're just going to run it and make sure it still works. I'm looking down here at my console log, and it looks like we are getting those words. Okay. Now the next one, I think this one really makes sense why you would add a parameter. The big reason is so we can use it for any list, or if my list length grows, I can use it for that. It also, in general, is just a better way to code as programs get bigger. And lastly, for your AP exam, you have to have a function with a parameter as one of the things that you write about. So down here, function check letter. I'm also going to add a parameter, and I'm going to call that letter choice. So down here, and actually I'm going to show this a couple different ways. So check letter, letter choice. Now here, I'm saying whatever is here is the thing I'm checking. So instead of having guess, which is specifically this variable, I'm putting letter choice in the spots where guess is. So I'm going to pass something into my function. So down here with check letter. Now the thing I'm passing in is guess. Okay. So I haven't really, once again, functionality has not changed, but now I have a parameter. I'm seeing if word choice I equals the letter choice, which does happen to be guess. So I'm going to run it once, but then also show how you could use it in different ways. So let's run it. And we'll guess the T for table. So T is getting stored as guess when I'm going to press this button. And then we're checking the letter for T. And we're saying, does the word choice I equal T? And if it does, we're going to set the correct corresponding spot to T. So it looks like it works. Now, just to also show this is working and show you could use it a different way, I am going to do check letter. E is in all my words, so I'm going to try E. So I haven't put anything in, but we're going to try check letter E. And it showed up down here. So we see our word is table. There is no user entry, but I can try different letters. So let's say I try a G. Now I happen to get the word great. It worked here. If I ran it again, 7 doesn't work, right? Because the letter G is not in the word. So the idea is we can put a lot of different things into check letter now. We could specify letters before. Maybe I have some sort of game where I want to give them like Wheel of Fortune, where you give R, S, T, L, N, and E. You could run that function and show those spots. So in the next video, we'll be adding to this words 5 letters list, but this is basically where we're at here. If you've been, as you've been coding along, you can get rid of that check letter G. That was just more showing how things work.